On the 2nd and 3rd of May 2013, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature hosted an Inception workshop in Maputo for its Fair Coasts initiative. The initiative promotes responsible natural gas production alongside sustainable biodiversity conservation and community development along the coastline of Cabo Delgado, the northernmost province of Mozambique. The workshop facilitated an open dialogue space among multi-sectorial stakeholder groups, including national, provincial and district-level government representatives, oil and gas companies, civil society organisations, community members and representatives of academia. Constructive discussions explored scenarios of economically, socially and environmentally sustainable and equitable natural gas development in Mozambique, focusing on the vast gas resources discovered offshore in Cabo Delgado province.
Obvious question is, with all that drilling, was any gas found? And you already know the answer because we found a lot of gas. So what you see here in yellow is just the half of Block 1 off the northern coast of Mozambique. And this is the area operated by Anadarko and its partners. And within that, you see a bunch of red and orange blobs. And those blobs are all the potential or actual gas that's been found. So we have a series of discoveries. The biggest one has been named Prosperidade.
We are only proposing at least 3 where we have an institutional competitive advantage. We are not saying these are the only solutions to problems of the province. And we are not saying we are the only people who can do it. Part of the reason we brought you here is to share with you our ideas about what we can do and to hear from you about your own ideas about how we might partner, how we might work with you, or alternative ideas of addressing the broader development and conservation challenges.
If you look then at the Cabo Delgado coastline, and many of you are familiar with these images, it's a very complex coastline with many bays, coral reefs represented here in blue, an amazing string of reefs and islands. Mozambique's coral reefs represent almost 2,000 square kilometers. Most of them are in Cabo Delgado. Some are down in Nampula, but this is an extremely significant area of coral reefs for the country.
As áreas marinhas de Cabo Delgado correspondem a 17% daquilo que ocorre no país, segundo a estimativa. Elas sustentam vários recursos. Na verdade, quando a maré vaza, a população tem a certeza que no mar vai encontrar os recursos, então tem uma segurança alimentar, sobretudo os aspectos, a proteína de que ela tanto necessita.
A key component of the IUCN workshop was a range of diverse presentations by representatives of natural gas development companies, marine biodiversity specialists, global and regional conservation advocates, and non-government and civil society advocacy groups. The event also utilised small working group discussions and question and answer sessions to highlight key concerns, risks and opportunities arising from natural resource development. The participatory discussion approach allowed for an array of viewpoints to be exchanged and considered, and for the key focus theme of the workshop, biodiversity conservation and accountable social and environmental performance management, to be explored in a multi-dimensional way.
Ainda não entendi bem o plano, digamos, prático, né, dessa parte de assentamento. Isso significa, mais ou menos, tanto transferir as pessoas, as comunidades, na zona habitual, né, para outra zona. Isso passa exatamente a criação de básicas condições da vida, né. Tem que haver um centro de saúde, escola, água, mais outras coisas.
Ouvimos uma apresentação que basicamente nos listou os passos ou as fases do licenciamento ambiental e da avaliação do impacto ambiental. Mas acho que nos interessa a nós é ouvir o que é que veio desse exercício em termos de impactos sociais, impactos ambientais e como é que estas preocupações todas que foram levantadas, por exemplo, vão ser acauteladas, estão a ser acauteladas. Onde é que estamos em relação a isso?
O uso de terra é uma questão que está a ser tratada com o Ministério também da Agricultura, juntamente com o Ministério com o MICOA, portanto o Departamento de Planeamento Urbano do MICOA. também está a seguir os trâmites normais. Como sabe, houve com o novo decreto sobre a utilização da terra, há muita cautela sobre isso e o Ministério da Agricultura, junto com o MICOA, estão, portanto, a acompanhar isso juntamente com o consórcio NADARCO e a ENE.
O governo até aqui ainda não avançou em um processo concreto de reassentamento, porque obviamente tem que ser vistas todas as perspectivas para evitarmos qualquer que seja o conflito.
When we talk about the government involvement, we have been speaking and the government's been very, very cooperative in working with us to find the best way forward. I don't entirely agree with that some of the rights were transferred necessarily without people being informed. Maybe our public consultation process hasn't been as strong or as wide as it should be. But we are at this point of the project where we have done a lot of work and we are almost at the tipping point where we get a lot of government departments signing into a process that we all agree on, and as soon as we reach that point there will be almost a flood of information to communities and to the regional area. So we're almost at that point, but we do have some other procedural issues to sort out with government before we can move ahead. And the one thing I would say, and the last thing I would say, is that the resettlement process that we will be following will be absolutely participatory. There will be absolute involvement of communities, all affected households, to determine proper entitlements, proper asset mapping, compensation levels, etc. And as I said, you will be there to observe all of this.
The workshop facilitated an exchange of global and regional experiences and approaches in the efficient management of natural resources to attain sustainable development.